This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful website. Hi, I'm kchoi. Welcome back to my channel. I am in a different location today, and that's because I've got a very special guest on this video. We have Chloe! You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Chloe has made us some iced matcha lattes. They're very good. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. It matches your shirt.
It does match my shirt.
What a vibe.
It's meant to be.
We're a palette together.
We are just going to chat today about your work, what you do as a product manager. Obviously, I have some videos on my channel where I interview people in different fields, so I thought it would be perfect to bring Chloe on. So I'm really excited.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being on my channel. So let's just jump in, and could you just introduce yourself, what you do, and your background, and then also about your YouTube channel as well.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Chloe Shih, and I'm currently a product lead at Discord working on community engagement products. I was previously at TikTok and Facebook/Meta, Google, and a live streaming startup from LA. Went to New York and lived there for school, and then moved to San Francisco for the work, and then came back here to LA. And I'm also a content creator. I go by Colors of Chloe. I share my lifestyle stories and career stories. So if you want to check that out,
Go subscribe.
it's here somewhere. It's here somewhere.
There, description box, everywhere.
And my career path, I didn't always start in product. I first started out in operations and data, and then I moved into business development, and then product operations and product development, and then product management. So it kind of was a zigzaggy turn. Yeah, it wasn't easy breaking in. Just saying, it's a hard path.
Tell me why you decided to go into product management and what attracted you to that role.
So I was at a startup, and I was working in biz dev, specifically in creator partnerships. So I was working with creators before it was cool. Like if someone was like, I want to be a creator, everyone's like, dude, what are you doing with your life? It's so dumb. So I was working in that department and building a live streaming product for creators to develop themselves and build their community. And as strong as a creator partner I was, and as many contracts I was able to get through biz dev and to make this content partnership happen, I always felt bottlenecked by the product. And we work in tech, and so our thing is the tech platform. And if that doesn't serve our users and our creators, it's kind of useless. It doesn't matter how well I sell it. So I really started to gravitate towards how can we improve the product so that it helps our creators build their businesses and build their communities. And I started working with designers and engineers, and I just really love that iterative process of going to the front lines, talking to the creators, getting their feedback on what will really change their lives. And I really wanted to build that. So that was the first inkling of whoa, this is a job. But I didn't know what product management was. So it took me a while to discover this is what I wanted to do. And here I am.
I work in consulting, and I know a lot of consultants go into product management. So could you just overall explain what is product management?
Okay, I'm gonna do my best.
Okay.
It's what is a consultant?
Yeah, that's also a very difficult question to answer.
You could answer it really generically. Be we solve problems for people. Yeah. Or you can say a bunch of words that mean nothing at all. So I feel product management is very similar. And in my experience within the context of consumer apps in tech, the product manager is a role at the company that rallies a team to figure out what are the problems that we should solve for the people that our business impacts, and then figure out product solutions to solve those problems. And you just keep doing that forever.
Is it distinct from product development? So is product management once the product is live and going, you're just continuously improving it? Is that what the product management side is focused on?
It depends on the maturity of the company. At the time I was at Facebook working in the product operations space in a product development role. And there's a lot of roles within prod ops, but usually really mature companies have a ton of PMs on all different surfaces. If you can imagine, the share button has one entire product team on it, Okay. Or the creation flow on events specifically has an entire product team. As a product manager, you kind of own that vertical depending on how the organization organizes their teams. Usually it's by user flow or by surfaces.
Okay. What is surfaces?
Like the share surface or the profile surface or groups, a marketplace. When a ton of product is being launched all the time, it's really hard for everyone to know what's up. And then there is a product operations discipline that helps organize it all to make sure things are shipping smoothly and that the quality bar is there and people aren't just like throwing things out there, making everything else break. There's a lot of risk assessment. There's a lot of, if you ship something, I ship something and it clashes, like we need to sync up.
So you have to not only work with your teams for the product that you're managing, but also with the other product managers for the different areas.
So in product ops, like in product development, I was staffed on multiple product teams. I think I was on 6 product teams, and every product team has like 1 or 2 or 3 product managers. It was a lot of like balancing all the different needs of all their teams.
A lot of coordination.
Yeah, but it's a really new discipline. I would say like it's different in every company.
This is also a question I get with consulting, and it's another difficult one to answer. But what is like the typical day or maybe week, since a day, I know day to day it's probably really different, but what does like your typical week look like as a product manager?
Oof. Yeah. I'm sure it's like really hard to generalize because it's very different depending on the stage of the product. And I guess like the stage of the project or the client. And there's a really iterative approach of like build, measure, learn, or understand, review, execute, launch. And so depending on the stage, my week looks very different. Right now, I am working on a new big bet feature at Discord where every day I meet with my engineering team for stand-up. At the beginning of the week, I have a team kickoff where I determine the theme of the week, the objectives of the week. Like we're focusing on the consumer experience or the admin experience. And then we want to focus on these couple features to put engineering effort into. I also have to work with my product designer every week to like figure out the next stage of design, what those explorations look like. I work with a UX researcher to figure out what user studies we need to conduct for the more broad strokes questions. So we have that ready so that when we're in design phase, we're like, all right, I think we should make this type of design because of these reasons. And then when we're in engineering phase, we already have the designs ready and why we made it look like the way it does. And we make sure they have everything they need to like execute. Yeah.
All right. So you are managing a lot. Every week you're like setting the course for your team. Yeah. You're coordinating throughout the week. Let's go like level up. What are some tips for being a good leader?
Yeah, hitting me with the hard questions, kchoi.
That's what I'm here for.
Holy!
I get to just listen and sip my matcha latte.
There is like an endless list of attributes for good leadership, and it's really subjective. But based on where I'm at right now and what kind of leader like I really need to become, I think that there are 5 different things that I really need to like push myself to do more of to be like from good to great. I think I'm baseline and like I do the homework, I'm
sure you're more than baseline.
I'm textbook okay. I'm just okay. But in order to be like a really great leader, I think product managers need to have a really strong vision. They need to be a really great visionary and be able to articulate what a winning product looks like in the long term. So like not just in the next 6 weeks, but a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and bring the team along the journey of seeing that vision. And so they believe in it too, and they have this North Star. I think that's really important. Because I am in a really new space that hasn't really been tapped into in the industry, a lot of the answers haven't been solved yet or not answered. I think sometimes you can be a PM and you can just like copy where everyone else is at, and like all you got to do is write a set of requirements and you're good. But when you're in new territory, you really have to like go back to, we always like to say, start with first principles. It just means at the core of what you're doing, like why are you doing that, and what is the root problem you're trying to solve, and keep going back and do the 5 whys framework. I think the difference between a product manager and a senior product manager is that the senior PM can really articulate the why behind every single design choice. Whereas like PM is like, oh, I think it's a good practice. Like, why is it a good practice? What's the history behind it? What are the pros and cons and the trade-offs? And what are we trying to gain? And what is the focus? Another attribute is like a phrase that we throw around a lot in our team, which is strong opinions loosely held. Okay. And it means like you have strong intuition in a space. Like a great leader already really understands the problem space, the users, the competitive landscape, and you can intuitively make a call if you need to. But loosely held because your assumptions are not always right, and you have to be able to like gut check yourself and validate it and do the research and do the data and be able to convince yourself otherwise. Otherwise, I think like a lot of visionaries can get very tunnel visioned into their solution because they represent one out of the many.
I think it's similar with consulting, because with consulting, you really want to keep the client's needs in mind. And so we might start a project off a certain way and we've like contracted X, deliverable or solution, but we might find like either because we just didn't have the full picture or there's like other external factors that come in, you have to be willing to change your direction for what's best for that client. So I feel like it's similar, like what's best for your audience and the product you're developing. You have to have that loosely held mindset. Right?
Yeah, which I think is why a lot of consultants, when they transition into product, they do very well because they're super malleable, but they like have these set understandings of how to approach like a problem or an industry. So, so another attribute is to embody servant leadership, and that's probably something people are familiar with. But what it means in the product landscape is that you really bring people along the journey of your vision. I think that's number one, but also give them the autonomy to contribute and challenge you and have open debates and give you feedback so that you're building the best products. Kind of like to see the role as like an orchestra conductor. Like you might not be generating the music yourself, but you are organizing the people and rallying them and giving the energy to get them to play their best parts, and together you're able to build something that no one can do individually.
That's a nice metaphor, is the orchestra conductor.
Yes, very poetic. Last thing is really to debate, decide, and commit. So you never have perfect information or all the resources in the world. So create an open, healthy debate arena or forum, and then decide on what you're going to do given imperfect information and like a reasonable amount of imperfect information, and just commit to it, learn from it, create a safe environment for making mistakes, learn from it, and then keep iterating. And there's nothing better than just trying and learning. As much as like pre-work you can do, you never know what's going to happen in the market. It's just so hard to predict. Teams that have that strong culture learn a lot faster and get to success quicker.
I really like that advice, because I think if you just constantly stay in the gathering ideas and feedback stage, like you're never going to get anything done. Never. To have the like, okay, we debate it, but then let's decide and commit, and then we can, if we need to go a different way or reconsider, we can do that.
Hope you're enjoying the video so far. We're going to get into what companies are looking for when they're hiring product managers, what to expect in the interview process, and lots more great advice. But before we continue, I want to take a moment to thank Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Squarespace, of course, is an all-in-one platform to build your website and build your online presence. They have beautiful templates for all kinds of sites, from blogs to portfolios to online stores. Plus, they're easily customizable to fit your own aesthetic and brand. Not only can you make a great looking website, but you can also host your domain, track your website analytics, connect your social media accounts, create custom mailing lists, schedule appointments, sell products, and so much more. The best part is that you can do all of that in one place, which is why I truly think Squarespace is the easiest way to build a site and brand online. So if you're interested in using Squarespace, then go to squarespace.com/kchoi to get a free trial. And then when you're ready, you can use my code kchoi to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. All of that info will be in the description box, so go check it out. Thank you so much, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video, and let's continue with the interview.
What about, someone trying to break into product management? What are companies looking for, both for entry level and also experienced hires?
This is so hard. I don't know what it's like in consulting, but product is really a space where they look for experience to be entry level. Like it's just so funny. I think in my Discord, someone sent a screenshot of a job rec for an associate product manager role that's like completely entry level, and then in the description, in the requirements, it said 3 years of product management required. And we're just like, for an entry-level APM role? What the heck? So I would say it's really hard to break in because it is more of a senior role in industry. Generally, you have to have experience working on a product team. If you're lucky to be eligible for APM, RPM programs, the Associate Product Manager, Rotational Product Manager programs, where they take new grads or like new industry folks, people really look for experience shipping something that solves a problem that has measurable impact, and that you took a leadership role. So they look for that line item that says shipped X, resulting in Y% increase in some metric.
Okay, are you taking notes for your resumes?
Yeah, like they really look for that line. They look for the word product. So I would just say sprinkle that in. Ship features, launch, build, lead.
And by ship, because I think this is maybe like PM terminology or like tech terminology, ship just means like launch or?
Yeah, ship just means launch. And even if you're a program manager or you're working on projects, shipping a project or launching a project, very similar terminology.
Okay.
But those keywords are definitely something that people look for if they don't have that much time to look at your resume.
So entry level is kind of more difficult unless you get into one of those rotational programs. So
it's hard.
Yeah. So what about with experienced? Anything you would add on top of that?
Yeah. I mean, obviously you just need product experience, even if you're in a tangential role. So when I was in product development, I actually didn't work on a certain product to ship. Like I didn't own that, but I was able to work with a lot of product managers and took a couple of assignments to do like user research or audits of the competitor products, and then I helped make recommendations, and through that process I was able to help ship a product or a feature, and that was really cool. As you progress in the industry more, the hiring managers are really looking for product experience within their industry. So e-commerce looks for people who have e-commerce backgrounds. Creator space looks for people in that similar space. Video platforms, like if you worked on fintech but not video, why would he hire you? So for me, having like your thing, your area of expertise works a lot better, unless you're just gonna like keep doing the Facebook, Meta, Google, Microsoft route where it's more generalist.
Take yourself back to the interview process that you went through.
No.
I'm sorry. What are like the most important things that people should keep in mind as they're preparing for and going through an interview for a PM role?
Well, first of all, congrats if you got the freaking interview. It's hard to even get picked up. I remember when I first applied for my first round of product interviews, I got rejected everywhere. But so yeah, congrats. But for the interview rounds, they're very particular in the consumer app space. I think it's very different if you're in gaming or if you're in like SaaS type companies or you're an ML product manager or a technical product manager. But if you are working on a consumer app, the product interview questions are generally in 3 categories. Number 1 is product sense. Number 2 is product execution. And number 3 is leadership. Product sense is your ability to like design a product given a prompt. So it's like design dating for Facebook. Or sometimes they like to not even create a product or use a product. They'll be like, tell me about your favorite non-technical product. How would you improve it? And then that's supposed to last like 45 minutes. Yeah, you gotta like go through the frameworks. You gotta talk about like the pros and cons, like why do you prioritize, how you would improve it, what the problem is that you're solving, what's realistic based on current market trends. Product execution, it's kind of a misnomer because it sounds like how would you execute on product development, but it's used to test you on product metrics. Let's just say that Facebook messages went down by 30%. What do you do? What are the questions you would go through? Or it would be a continuation of the product sense exercise. Maybe you were building dating for Facebook and you, I don't know, created an MVP and you mocked it all up. And then you're like, what are the success metrics that go with it? Oh, it's like signups. And then the product execution question that comes from it would be, let's just say that signups increased 30%. How would you like think about that?
Okay. And then what was the third category?
The third category is leadership.
Okay.
So it's more behavioral. I mean, some companies have like a values and product leadership, product principles loop. Some others would just have XFNs, like cross-functional partners from engineering or design or product leadership to talk through your behavioral experiences. Like tell me a time you had a challenging experience with a coworker, or tell me a time you disagreed with someone, tell me a time you had to make a really hard decision. Why do you want to be a product manager and like understand your values as a leader? So it's more of like more of a leadership fit loop.
With like the actual people or groups that you'll be working with?
Yeah, just because I think that product looks so different across companies and they want to make sure the PM fits within the value system that the company embodies.
I mean, you're working with so many people, so that makes sense.
The PM role is it's more of an art than a science. And so if you don't vibe and you don't have the same values, it's going to be an uphill battle for both sides.
Yeah.
So it's better.
Especially like if you're, responsible for getting people on board and like excited and motivated.
Yeah.
Like you definitely want to have a good culture fit.
I guess it's kind of a culture fit, but like on steroids.
I feel like a lot of things in product seem that way. It's like a little more intense.
It is a bit intense. I think the interviews are stupid intense. One of my product execs that I worked with in the past has asked, how would you estimate the storage needed to store Google Earth?
Wow.
I have no idea.
What's interesting is like just the more that I'm learning about product management, because like before chatting with Chloe, I like honestly did not know that much about it. I can see like a lot of those transferable skills of PM and consulting, because it's just like, how are you thinking? How are you solving problems? Like, how are you going to get your team, to rally around that and get to your goal?
Yeah, I do think it's quite similar. I think it's just like more of a focus on product solutions versus like business or money or operations.
Now that we're done talking about interviews, sorry for taking you there. What is like the thing that gives you like the most energy, like that you love about being a PM? And then what's something that's like more challenging?
My answer to why I started to love product has changed a lot. Like at first it was just really novel. It's really cool. It's really, it's a new experience for me. But then after taking away like the novelty and the money aspect, I really, at the end of the day, I really get excited when I'm working on features and I launch features that have an impact on the users that I'm working with. And when I associate those users with real people. So I love like doing user studies and being in focus groups. So at Discord, I meet a lot of admins and a lot of members, and a lot of their livelihood is based on their connections in the Discord communities and being a moderator and an admin. And that they like make the relationships, they have the support group, they work through their mental health challenges because they have this group of people digitally and they don't have that in real life. And I'm like really about that. So I'm just so stoked to work on a product that gets them excited and helps them live better lives on their day-to-day. Yeah. It's dope. It honestly is dope. I really have to be passionate about like the user problem. When I'm not, I'm just like, this is not it. This is not it. I'm done. I'm going to clock out early today.
Yeah. Okay. So the connection to like how that product is affecting the actual people using it.
Yeah. Okay. So I love that. But there are a lot of challenges, which I've talked about in one of my previous videos. I think it depends on every stage, honestly, and every team I work with. Right now, what I struggle with the most is going from a facilitative leader to a team captain. So before, at larger companies, there's a lot of bureaucracy and paperwork. And like you kind of win if you can sift through all the paperwork and all the stakeholders and operationalize your work. But when you're in a startup and you have to go into uncharted territory, you just have to be so ahead of the game for everyone else. Like I have to constantly be 10 steps ahead of my team and know why and have already done the user research and do the data science analytics. And I am only one person and my team is like, there are 10 people on it. I can't feasibly like get that far that fast, but I'm trying, doing my best. It's a struggle. There are days where I really don't know the answer and I have to lean on my team and I have to be okay with the discomfort. And not like beat myself up for it, for not like having it together, having done everything. Yeah.
So it kind of feels like you have to do all this like pre and like extra work to like start the work with the team.
A lot of my team looks to me to make the calls and like convince them why the call I made is the right one. And I'm new and I'm learning. It's a new space. And I have to be the industry expert on this. And I'm ramping up. Like
you have to use a lot of critical thinking skills right now.
So a lot of calls I have to make are based on imperfect information. I just have to know that there are caveats with that, and I have to know what risks there are and how to mitigate them, and that it's okay if we fail as long as we like validate something in that process.
I'm sure you're amazing, which is why you've worked at so many awesome companies in the past already. So. Keep doing what you're doing.
I will do my best.
Just one more question now is any final advice that you give for people either in product or pursuing product?
I think for people breaking into product first, I think just have a really strong reason why you're breaking in, because I think a lot of people like really enjoy chasing the prestige and the clout and like the leadership, but it's not a chill role. like if you want to chill, this product's not it. Like you could do something else and get paid. But yeah, really know why. I think that it can get really political, and you need to be a good speaker. You have to bring and put on your suit of armor every day. And hopefully you don't, but in most places you do. For people in product, I think there are a lot of people that come to me that tell me that they have like a lot of imposter syndrome, where they feel uncomfortable, like they feel a lot of engineers undermine them because they're not technical, or they just don't know what they're doing and they're really afraid of showing that. Because like you kind of have to portray this persona that you know what you're doing, because you got to convince them. So I think that in product, you're working on a thing that hasn't really been solved for, at least at the company. And that's okay. And not everyone should have the answers. Otherwise, they're just God. Like, being comfortable with the unknown is something that we just got to get used to. And then maybe building the muscle to ask the right questions and like get people to lean in more and share their thoughts so you can collectively come up with a solution together.
My swim coach used to say you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah. Swimming, product, same thing.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you, Chloe.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being on the channel and for sharing all of your knowledge and insight. I feel like there's so much good stuff that you shared that is not only applicable to people who want to go into product management, but kind of anything, just like it's really great advice. So thank you. And if you want to see more stuff about product management, about career, about just Chloe's very beautiful aesthetic, lifestyle, go to her YouTube channel. It will be linked in the description box and up in the cards and wherever you can find it. Also Instagram, right?
yes.
The Clobro.
I am the Clobro on Insta.
Yes. And there was the reason that we even, decided to collab was somebody had commented on a video, I think, or suggested. I can't remember. I'll find the message or comment. So thank you for making this happen. And yeah, I'm so glad that we got to meet. And now I have a new friend. Thank you all for watching. Leave any comments below with more questions that you have for Chloe or about product management. Yeah, really happy to have been able to do this.
I know. Thank you for having me, kchoi.
Yay.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Nice meeting you. Bye.
Cheers.
That was pretty smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.